snooping because he was talking about, the college players being able to make money off their likeness. And one of the questions that he had just, kind of sitting on the couch is so-and-so from Tarleton State going to be able to make money? So he was like, so can they make their own shirts and sell them? And that's okay. I don't know. I guess so. Zach, would you do that if you were going to Tarleton State playing baseball?
Well, this is something that I brought up before the last time we talked about this. And you don't remember anything because you fall asleep all the time. So
True.
Paul probably remembers.
I don't.
But I was like, I wonder what's going to keep the locally good player that has a scholarship offer to Tarleton and a walk-on opportunity at Texas from going to Tarleton instead of Texas, where if he goes to Texas, he can market the fact that he's a current Longhorn football player.
Okay.
And that has way more marketability than marketing I play football at Tarleton.
So
that's
go ahead, Paul.
So Zach, that's a very good point. Have either of you read the NCAA guidelines for making money, or what is allowed and what is not allowed? Have y'all read that or looked at it yet?
The only thing I've read lately is the benefits package for Manor ISD. So the only thing that's been the
you lost me at. Have any of you read?
Okay, great.
That's been
Zach, I really hope you read for your work today. So I really hope. I'm just saying, I really hope you did. But getting back to the point is that the NCAA is going to make this murky, and they've already started. And they've started out by saying what Zach just brought up, marketability. And what they're saying is, we're not going to allow any student athlete to take third-party sponsor deals. Well, what are third-party sponsor deals? Sponsors with Nike, sponsors with the car dealership, sponsors with this person. But that's not to say you can't take a photo with a fan and charge X amount of dollars. That doesn't mean you can't go to an appearance and charge X amount of dollars. So as far as the marketability, the NCAA is trying to make this convoluted so that there is ambiguity. And they're not going to let these kids have agents. So it's going to make things even more difficult because of the legalese. So one thing that these young men really get to understand is like, well, what's the difference between me signing an autograph for $10,000 at a booster at Alabama or Texas compared to signing a $10 shirt at Tarleton State? Those are what I think we're going to have an issue with, not the marketability, so to speak, but the types of donors that these universities currently have or can garner. And that's going to be the big hiccup that the NCAA is going to face. But they're going to make this as difficult as possible because they really don't want this to happen. But with the G League coming, and I feel with a private company coming in and buying the XFL after it clears bankruptcy court, these pro sports leagues have an issue. And the only way the NCAA has an issue with these smaller professional leagues garnering talent that they used to make money off of for free, that being the NCAA.
Zach?
No, I mean, I feel like he basically just kind of said what we already knew. So I mean, it's still like it's still kind of up in the air. Like until it happens, no one really knows how it'll go.
Yeah,
it's going to happen next. It's going to happen in the 21-22 season.
So
it's around the corner.
Yeah, let me get. I got a ESPN.com up here. Go ahead, Zach.
No, so I was just clearing my throat. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So there was proposed changes to this. Because they're the NCAA. They're trying to go through this and figure out what's going to be allowed, what's not allowed. So the proposed changes that they had Tuesdays would be open the door for athletes to sign endorsement deals with a wide variety of third-party companies. The changes would also make it possible for athletes to monetize their social media channels, profit from writing a book or making a music album, host a sports camp, and start a business, among other potential opportunities. Athletes would be allowed to mention their status as a college athlete and the school they attend in advertising. They wouldn't be able to use the school's logo for branding in those advertisements. Social media channels, writing a book or making a music album, hosting a sports camp, starting a business. I think all can be something that, especially the sports camps. I think that would be big. I know every student athlete these days thinks they're a rapper or a country singer or something like that. So, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure everybody's going to try to make an album now. So, the proposed changes do not allow schools to pay athletes directly or to provide any assistance to athletes in setting up endorsements. So basically the athletes can do all this stuff, but they have to do it without the help of the school or using the school that they attend to, help with, selling themselves. So basically what this is doing is like, I mean, you got to go out there and you got to be Fan Stand or Flex ATX or Recon Athlete. You got to go out there and sell yourself. And I think they're opening the door for these kids to make money, but I think it's going to be up to the kids and, the people around them, to sell. I mean, I know the top guys are going to be able to sell themselves, but I think there's going to be a lot of potential of social media stars out there that, that these kids aren't able to make. They're not able to monetize themselves on social media. But I mean, I think could possibly the monetization on social media, could that be possibly the biggest revenue for these kids, Paul Rodriguez?
I mean, it potentially could be, but I think that, and there's going to be a lot more smarter individuals than us or any other kind of pundit talking head who could think of an idea. There are going to be people who probably already crafting gimmicks that are legal and within the guidelines to get these young people hundreds of thousands, if not close to millions of dollars. But I mean, I think YouTube is a viable option. I think, monetizing your Instagram is a viable option. It's basically, it's going to be basically just money. Who's willing to trade goods for services? I mean, whatever somebody holds a value for or value of, they're willing to give you cash for it or compensation. People are going to pay the money for it.
There's going to be big personalities that are riding the bench that can sell themselves on social media, right, Zach?
Right, but I'm saying if you were surfing through YouTube, Chris, looking for something interesting to watch, or if you're some like just Joe Schmo person, and there was a video that said, "I walked on at the University of Texas. Here's my story," versus "I play football at A&M Corpus." They don't have a football team, but I play football at A&M Corpus. Here's my story.
Or Incarnate Word.
Yeah, Incarnate Word. You're going to get way more views, and you're going to be able to sell yourself so much more by saying that you play football at Texas. So I think this rule is going to be to the detriment of these mid-major universities.
So you're saying what I think I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the potential to monetize yourself at a bigger university will trump your ability to actually play the sport actually get on the field of a smaller university. Is that what you're trying to say?
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And if you're someone who needs the money to support your family, or you have some sort of extreme circumstance where you really need money, and you're going to and that's going to weigh huge in your college decision. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to see people taking that route.
That's interesting. I'm getting your point now. I'm a little slow. I'm older, grandpa over here. I see what you're saying. And Paul, what do you think about that take where you got a student athlete who could go play at Tarleton State and chooses to walk on at Texas because maybe he already has a lot of followers on Instagram or YouTube or Chit Chat, or Talk Tick or, whatever.
Or even like in terms of a channel like Recon. If someone reached out to us and said, "Hey, I play football at UIW, I would love to help promote you guys' company and what you guys do. Why don't you let me like take over the account for a weekend or something like that? Versus if someone said I play football at University of Texas, I would love to take over the account. Like because so many more people are tied to the University of Texas, that dude's reach is so much further than someone whether they're playing or not at Tarleton State.
Okay. So however many followers they have on Click Clock, will kind of determine where they're going to go to football. But Paul, you say you're hearing what we're saying here. What do you think about this?
First of all, we're going to book the UIW guy first, and then as soon as football season gets closer, we're going to definitely book the guy from the University of Texas. Zach, that's a great point. But I also, to play devil's advocate, I kind of think about the case where, if that athlete is going to not take the scholarship at UIW and go play at the University of Texas and weigh those two options, that's pretty viable. But I think a lot of these young athletes, they're not going to university for athletics just to make money. I think they want to go compete and make money. So there's definitely going to be a give and a take, but I think your point is valid. It's just, I think there's going to be a big gray area, and I think that really down the line, someone's going to learn how to really take advantage of these new guidelines to the best of their ability. But again, it's all about your financial situation, and if you really need to help out the family, you're going to take the best avenue possible. But I don't know. I think I always think of worst case scenario, and I just feel like with student athletes being able to make money, I feel like universities are going to figure out a way to get money to those student athletes to get them to the university.
And I think it's
going to be a very dangerous situation because if people don't know cheating happens, the only reason you don't know about it is because that university stops after the first two prompts. When you get to the third, fourth, and fifth prompt, then we see what happens at Ohio State. While the beginning of Urban Meyer's tenure, you see what happens, at SMU, where their whole program is done for 30 years. So that's the real big issue that I see with that. But I'm grateful that the NCAA is coming around to let student athletes make money off of their name and likeness. We'll just see who's able to take advantage of the market. We're going to see before our eyes pretty soon.
Zach?
Just for example for you guys,
okay.
Kirk Johnson, the running back for Texas.
Okay.
He hardly plays. He has a YouTube channel with over 35,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's like a really great example of someone that is using the reach of not only Texas, not only like his family, but the University of Texas to build a brand that he's going to be able to now, because this wasn't passed when he was in college, he's going to be able to use the reach of his university, and he built this brand to monetize this now that he's out of college.
All right. That's a great point. So it would kind of be like where they're sitting at as far as like subscribers or followers or, whatever, as they're coming out of high school though. Right, Zach? Do you think that somebody would say, hey, I've only got 1,000, I've got, 100 subscribers on YouTube. If I go to University of Texas, this could go to 10,000. If I go to Tarleton, it's going to go to 1,000. Is that what we're saying here? Do you think an athlete would think in that terms, or would they say, I want to go play football and I'm going to go to Tarleton State?
I think it depends. Even if you ask like some of the top athletes in their respective sports,
mm-hmm.
like what their dreams are, where they want to, like why they're playing the sport. You see with Jalen Green taking the G League offer.
Right.
It's becoming less of like for the love of the game and it's a bad culture. People are are taking money into these considerations.
Yeah.
And so I think if you have a kid who just wants to make money, who maybe doesn't see themselves playing football after college, they might as well make the money while they can. And I mean, if you play football, like if you have a YouTube channel at all,
Mm-hmm.
or even don't have one, all it takes is for the University of Texas football's Instagram page to say, "Hey, check out walk-on Chris Sanchez's YouTube channel."
Mm-hmm.
That'll get you thousands of followers
Right.
off of just that.
Right. Yeah, and then that's and so and Zach, you've mentioned that phrase that's been coined and here on Recon Athlete by Zach Lucero, the bag culture, meaning that these kids that might need money are you might be right. The athlete that's 5'11", 195 pounds, runs a 4.6 or 4.7 40, probably doesn't have a future in the NFL. So either go play middle linebacker, at and we keep saying Tarleton, but shout out Tarleton. Go play middle linebacker at Mary Hardin Baylor, or go try to walk on at Texas State or University of Texas, and be one of the guys that does the hype stuff on the kickoff, on the sideline, and have a big YouTube following and get money that way. That's a now I'm thinking about it, Zach, that's a total viable option. And I don't see why somebody that would have that option wouldn't take it. I mean, honestly, and Zach, I've never really thought about it I'm 40 years old, so I don't know. I don't know how this, the social media thing, can work in that advantage, for the individuals. But I think you got a great point. I think you finally pulled me over to the dark side, and to the fact that some of these kids might just see the dollar signs right now rather than the memories that they might make on the field. Is that kind of what we're saying, right?
Yeah, and I think especially now that entrepreneurism, or whatever, however you say it, is so prominent.
Yeah,
everyone wants to build a brand. Everyone wants to start a company. Everyone wants to do these things themselves and use themselves as the marketer, use themselves as the starting point, and be just that, an entrepreneur. And what better way to achieve that goal than starting with an audience,
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking here on